What can we learn about power from a very boring chart? Please give an old lady a break because this is my first time using green screen. Okay. So this chart shows the male-female split between people who claim carers allowance, and it covers the period 2003 to 2025. Don't need to know much about statistics to be able to interpret this graph. Up at the top, you can see a line all the way across. It averages out at about 74% of all people who claim carers allowance have been recorded as female. And then inversely, you've got about 25-26% across the board are male. Claim carers allowance, you need to meet some pretty rigid conditions. You need to provide at least 35 hours worth of care unpaid per week, and you can't earn more this year than £196. If you go a penny over that £196, you lose all of your carers allowance, which is only about £83 a week. Now, the fun doesn't stop there, because if you are awarded the £83 in carers allowance, then that £83 can be deducted from the universal credit of the person that you're caring from, or from your own state pension. By the end of this video, I'm hoping you will agree with me that carers allowance is the worst. Now, you'll hear people like me or other people talking about something called intersectionality. Now, intersectionality is where elements of our social identity overlap to make even bigger structural disadvantages. So in this case, we've got people who are claiming carers allowance, they're on a low income. So we've got carers, low income, and women. Now, when you put this together, this means that women in this position are facing disproportionately structural disadvantages. And this is where power comes in, because since 2016, so for 10 years now, there's been a long rumbling scandal around carers allowance. And following whistleblowing and investigations and parliamentary commissions and all of that absolute nonsense, A, nothing has changed, but B, we've discovered that around 357 million in overpayments is being repaid by 262,000 people who've claimed carers allowance. And if those people represent the gendered split that we see in this chart, that's about 197,000 women. The investigations have found that claimants overall are not willfully flouting these rules. Now, I'll reiterate, providing 35 hours worth of care unpaid a week is pretty much a full-time job. And if you've got a side job, if you're lucky or not, you have to have a side job on the side of that, then I can't imagine that you've got much time to pour over your salary and think, have I gone pennies over my allotted time per week? You have to work it out over a weekly basis, if you get paid monthly, if you get fortnightly. The whole thing's a nightmare. That hasn't stopped the DWP blaming claimants, and scandalously, the investigations have found a complacency culture, a complete lack of curiosity, and a culture of blame around who has generated these overpayments. Could it be a behemoth of a system that deals with hundreds of billions of pounds worth of welfare, and one of the biggest government departments that we have, that's filled with experts? Or could it be the people who are providing enough care to save us as a country a whole NHS a year? The investigation says it's the DWP's fault. The DWP don't necessarily agree and haven't implemented the recommendations. Well, most of them anyway. So what does this tell us about power? Well, this scandal has been known about and has been worked on for 10 years. And in that time, more and more people have fallen foul of this awful system. And when something like this goes on for as long as it has, you have to ask the question as to why, genuinely, why has this not been addressed and fixed? Why has justice not been sought on behalf of these people? And why have the DWP continued to kick the can down the road and continue to allow people to fall into this trap? It's power. And it's the intersectionality of power. So if we look at who is powerless in this situation, we've got majority of claimants are overwhelmingly women. We've got people on very low incomes, people providing unpaid care. So they're living around with, or, every day, 35 hours at least a week, caring for somebody who's unable to care for themselves, saving as a whole NHS. These people, carers, these wonderful, wonderful people, are powerless when it comes to something like this. Now, we're not saying the DWP would have had a different reaction had this been 70% or 75% male and 25% female. I don't think it would, because carers as a group are voiceless. There are charities, wonderful people doing lots of things, but they must continue to be voiceless because the DWP are not fucking listening. went on a rant there. Sorry. Carers allowance really, really pisses me off. It's the perfect storm of everything that the welfare system shouldn't be. You know, we've got people who are saving us hundreds of billions of pounds a year in providing unpaid care. We've got people who are living on low incomes and doing jobs that the state should be doing in the first place, or, you know, as argument the families do it, whatever. It doesn't matter what you think about care. The fact is that there are people who are doing extraordinary things and getting absolutely screwed over by the system. This has got to stop. We need better policy, because